So you've seen them on this channel as a Kickstarter. The Kickstarter's over. They were highly successful at that Kickstarter, and for no unknown reason, Portrait Workshop is the ultimate way to bring your character to life. Now, they've sent me through some slides of what we can be expecting, and can I just say that of the products that we come across that ask us to do promotions on our channel, there are a few that make us go, this is something that we really want. Oftentimes it's, we want that. Oftentimes it's shut up and take my money. In this case, it's shut up, take my money, and let's do something together. So, partnering with Portrait Workshop has been a dream of ours since we heard about the product, and coming up on this channel in the next couple months will be hands-on tutorials on how to use this amazing product, how to tell stories, and how to make better characters out of the material that you are given, as well as the portraits that you can make. Now, they've expanded from originally it was just humanoid portraits, then they added monsters. Now you can design your own helmets, your own armor combinations, your own color combinations. There is so much that you can do with this software. They are in the billions of combinations, as a matter of fact. And what you're seeing behind me is a small sampling of random different types that have been generated with quite literally the touch of a button on your smartphone. So look out for this Portrait Workshop. It's coming to this channel, and it's coming to you soon. You now know that you should be engaging with your fellow PCs in terms of including them in your plotting and planning as the character. You should be coming up with plans as a character. You should be interacting with NPCs. There should be all sorts of things going on in your head as you sit down at the table, and now you know what you should be doing, right? Wrong. There's more that you should be doing, and this is it. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of How to Be a Great Player. Today we're talking about the next level of what you should be doing as a player around a gaming table. Last week we spoke about the concept of team and how you should be inclusive of everybody and go digging around with the NPCs for plot and that sort of thing. Today we're going to be looking at what you need to do in addition to that, because it's not good enough just to talk to people. You actually have to be active about it. So how do you be active about it? Or how are you active in going about this process? So, notes, questions, and action. Those should be your three bylines. Okay, so I'm including everybody, I'm engaging with everybody, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing the next thing, and I'm also taking notes, asking questions, and taking action. But how do we do that? What do we do in order to make that effective? So you have your character. Let's say he is a rogue with a background from some strange Oriental-like culture. And your rogue is going to be doing certain things and asking questions. But what questions should your rogue be asking when they encounter an NPC? There are thousands of potential questions that they should be asking, but there are only 5 that are actually useful and will lead you down a general path of inquiry. So when you are stumped with what to say or do, you want to engage with NPCs, but you don't know how, these are the 5 questions that you should be asking. They are the who, what, where, when, how, and why. Hello, who are you? What are you doing here? Why are you here and not over there? When did you get here? And how long are you going to be here for? Those are all excellent questions and will lead you down the path. The moment the person says, I am here because I am a barrel trader, I trade barrels, which would make me a cooper. I am here with my coopering. Oh, is there a demand for barrels in this area? Have you seen much work in this area? Were you attacked by creatures on your way here, perhaps desperately looking for plots, says the PC, etc., etc. So, there we go. That's the bottom line. Those are the 5 questions that you should be asking of almost every NPC that you encounter. Now, of course, I'm exaggerating a little bit. You shouldn't ask every NPC this, because if you walk up to the city guard and say, who are you? Why are you here? What are you doing? There's certain answers that you know the guard is going, why are you here? Well, because it's my duty to be here. Yeah, all right, fine. Okay, good. We get that point. Let's move on. So there are obviously times when you don't ask all of those questions, and there are certain NPCs you don't need to ask those questions of. Like, for example, the tavern keeper, for example. If you're just there for a drink, you don't need to do all of that, although you never know, it could lead somewhere. You need to take lots of notes. That's the bottom line. Note-taking is vitally important, and I hate it when I have players who sit at my table, they don't write down anything, they just absorb, or they try and make sure their character is the center of attention, and then next week they come to play and they go, I don't remember what was going on. I don't really know what's happening. I did this the other day. I have had a particularly stressful period in terms of making this YouTube channel and running games and being on games, and I attended a game where I hadn't taken any notes. I was completely oblivious to what was going on. I couldn't even remember where we were from last session, which was only a week ago, and that's when I realized I was suffering from absolute exhaustion, but I was also an awful player. The GM had spent so much time prepping that game, and I arrived there and I went, oh yeah, I don't even know what we're doing. What are we doing? What character am I playing? I mean, I'm out of it. I'm completely out of it. I apologized afterwards for not being part of that space, for not showing respect to the GM and to my fellow players. Keeping notes will not kill you, and if you rely on everybody else at the table to keep notes for you, that's effectively saying to your teammates, okay, I want you to play the game and I'm just going to sit here and reap in all the glory. I don't think it's acceptable behavior. And then finally, your actions. What should your actions do? They should seek to solve your questions. If you have a question in game, if you're going, well, I don't know how the dragon fits in with this whole thing, that is a great starting point. But it's not the end of that conversation. You should then say, so how would I figure out what the dragon was doing? Your next step should be, hello, fellow players, characters, what do you think the dragon was doing? That's your line. That's your line of inquiry. Those 5 questions, who, what, where, when, why, and how, you should be asking those for everything. Why was the dragon there? And what was it doing? And when did it get there? And why did it leave? And how do you think it got, well, it obviously flew there, okay. How do you think it knew to go there, though? So many questions that will lead you down so many different paths of inquiry, but which will make you part of the game. It will make you far more useful to have as a character sitting at that table than just the lump on the log who sits there and doesn't do any of this stuff but is there to roll dice. So you've got to be very, 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 very focused when you are playing a role-playing game, because you expect that of your GM. Imagine if your GM arrived and went, hi guys, what are we doing? What were your characters doing last week? I don't even remember what your characters are. Are you even playing characters? Do we even care? I didn't care. I didn't plan anything. I didn't take any notes down from last week. That's absolutely abhorrent behavior. So you are actively engaging in the game, and that is very, very, very important. You are also being part of the team, which is also very, very, very important. We spoke about what makes you a likable person. That sociability is part of it. Proactivity is the other part of it, and of course capability. Having a capable character is not capability. Capability is being a player who is actively engaging in the game. You have the capacity to be a good player. I get asked all the time, what makes a good player? This is what makes a good player. Engaging in the world, in the space, in a manner in which makes sense and is inclusive of others. This really is the fundamental of what makes a good role player, not the ability to create amazing characters statistically. That is a component. It is not the only component, and yet we seem to think that it is. It isn't. Anyway, what do you think is the component, the main component of being a good player? Is it any of this stuff, or am I just shooting smoke up a chimney? Is it more along the lines of, oh no, 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 if you're going to be a good player, you should be quiet, sit back and not engage? Anyway, comments down below, and until next week, I wish you and yours the very happiest of playing. So now you know what your player duty is. My duty is to say thank you to the sponsors of this channel, and today's sponsor was Portrait Workshop. These beautiful portraits still scrolling on behind me that you can make with this phone app-based program, which will be coming out shortly. We'll be featuring it here on the channel, as I said at the beginning. I also want to say a big shout out to my Patreons who make this entire thing possible, whose constant support, advice, and sharing insights has made the channel become what it is today. So to both my sponsors and to my Patreon, I have to say a gigantic thank you, and to you for watching and hopefully hitting that like or subscribe or both buttons, or the bell button for that matter, a bigger thank you. Until next time, goodbye.